Okay, so currently I'm live. I hope everything is working properly. The audio, the music, everything. Mm. Okay, so what am I gonna do today? I'm thinking Zidane, to be honest. I like this pose. Let's say if I go with this one, I might use this kind of weapon. These double daggers sort of weapons instead of the daggers. The way I see him holding daggers is like where he is kind of bowing forward or something and holding his daggers like behind him, right? Like think kind of like this, like Goku, but his hands are slightly uh, directed behind him, and like his dagger is going kind of like this, right? And then behind his back. But this pose is really, really stylish. Like he's so confident. The way he's holding his weapon behind him, like, look at my weapon. Do you really wanna try to get hit by this? Are you sure about that, buddy? Mm. If I had to make a silhouette, like, would look probably kind of like this, 45 degrees. His hand is around here, right? Or is it? Because, I mean, it looks like in the middle, right? But if you think in terms of the space that we have, it's gonna give a lot of space for the lower body and not enough space for the upper body. Like, compare it to Goku, look, it's almost at the level of his neck or his mouth. And the thing is, part of this makes this pose look good is the size of the weapon. Like his weapon is almost twice his size. Like it's 45 degrees and it's taller than him. Like imagine if it was like vertical, right? Probably go like around here. So we're gonna have to find a way to express the length of the sword while still reducing the space that we have for the lower body. Be able to give enough space to the upper body because it's rich in detail. And we know how detail is important in pixel art because you don't have too many pixels to work with, so making every detail and every pixel, making the best use of it to communicate visual information is how we can be able to say that this sprite, this is a sprite of Zidane, right? It's not another character. Well, another way to do it is to make to not go for the 45 degree, to go for maybe 30-degree angle like this, right? It's gonna be a very wide sprite though, because his hands still are gonna be somewhere around the center of the weapon. Somewhere like here. Right? This is his grip. This would be like his arm. His head is gonna be somewhere like here. Right? So basically it's gonna look something like this. I'm not focusing on tricky stuff right now, but it bugs me. I have to feel good about whatever I'm making. So it can look kind of like this. And still, I feel like his upper body is not given enough importance. Although it can be done like this, like to give it more. Okay, so this is his hair and stuff. You make it look bigger. See if we can do 45-degree weapon work. I guess we can. We just might need to try to change the perspective about the hand. Right? By making it kind of shorter, but kind of like this. It feels like we can make it feel like the weapon is like way behind him, right? Cool. Yeah, I think this is what we're looking for. Also, this pose looks almost like he's trying to hide his weapon from you, but I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Oh, looks like we kinda got somewhere pretty quickly. Which feels good, to be honest. There might still be something that needs revising, like, and still not holding the weapon from the center, but I guess it can eventually be ignored. If everything else is coherent, right? You might. Alright, I might start coloring some stuff and I think give the weapon some kind of a basic shape too. Right? Oh, I forgot to think about the colors too. That's gonna be a huge problem. I know with VV we started in 8-bit games graphical style, and then we added more colors. But the reason, like, the reason I don't want to rush into making this colorful sprite immediately, because I noticed that the reason I managed to make this sprite look good is because of how strongly I stuck with the restrictions of the 8-bit style, right? I didn't go like, okay, so 8-bit style, in this case, we basically have to limit ourselves to 2 colors. And so I picked just like any 2 colors and say like, hey, that's it, that's alright, like, that's 8-bit already, like 2 colors, few shapes, small size, etc. And then said, alright, I can now move on to adding more colors. I had to stick with the 8-bit style and have the mindset that this was the final result. I was going to stop there, right? And that made me want to push the limits of the 8-bit style as much as I could. And then when I had the idea to add more colors, just out of curiosity to see how it's gonna look, that's when I found all the, like, having pushed the sprite to its limit with just 2 colors allowed me to achieve this like this result with more colors, right? Because if I try to immediately I try to go to a colorful result from the very get-go, I might not have pushed myself to work on the sprite this much, right? So what I have to avoid right now is to draw the sprite with the idea in mind that afterwards I'm going to add more colors, and therefore I can go easy on myself when using only 2 colors, right? I don't want to have that mindset where it's alright, I'm only using 2 colors right now because I'm trying to work within this restriction. This is not going to be the final result. I'm going to have more freedom to work with more colors afterward. No, I want to push myself using only 2 colors as if it was going to be the final render, the final result, right? Because I think that adds a lot to the final result in case I try to work with more colors, right? Like, I don't know if I think the idea is clear, but I'm not finding the right words to express it. What I mean is, like, working within certain restrictions to see where it goes, like, is pointless if you keep having in mind the idea that eventually you're gonna remove these restrictions, right? In that case, you might as well just draw without these restrictions. It's pointless, right? That's what I'm trying to say. So I have to focus right now into making this sprite as good looking as possible with only using 2 colors. That's what I'm trying to say. So the reason I said that, because I forgot about what 2 colors I'm gonna stick with. So we have black, obviously that's it's used for everything, not just like outline, shadows, everything. The two colors, I feel like they're gonna be kind of like this, these colors for Vivi, right? So this will work for Zaiden's skin, his hair, and any bright parts in his clothes, like these, and maybe the upper parts of his shoes, like the bright part of his shoes. But for the others, we're gonna try to stick with something turquoise like hued, while being slightly bright and desaturated. This feels a little bit too saturated for me though, for Zidane, I don't know. Because if you use this for his hair, for his skin, and for his clothes, I think if we aim for a slightly grayer look, slightly desaturated, with a hint of yellow or orange. How bright? I don't know. If we go to bright, I think we're gonna desaturate it even more. Just trying to make a palette over here. Also, please consider the fact that my monitor right now is not color accurate, so it might look slightly different from your own end. Like, so please take that into consideration. What about this weapon though? I don't think if I'm gonna use this weapon, I might go for the basic, like double weapon he has in the game. I don't know. I need to do some more research in terms of weapons for Zidane. But usually they're made of like metal, steel, and like mithril. You know, Final Fantasy, how it works. I don't think I'm gonna go for this weapon. It's too flashy and too detailed. Too detailed. That said, I like the fact that the angle of the weapon, I might want to do that. Change it for the I don't know if this is the right way to do it. I just want to see how it comes out. how to convey the I guess this can work for now. Rotate this 180. Where even is, like, where's the tip? I can see it. Alright. This is gonna be this, like, alright, it's like this. It's like this. This, right? I feel like something's off. Something off around here, like, should I remove this? That shouldn't be the case. I think only for these they shouldn't be rotated. There should be something like this. I don't know. I might have messed something up. Is this right? Does this look right? Is this one supposed to be? How to make it look like a horizontal angle and not a vertical angle. So it's a 45-degree angle and it's rotated. Like, instead of being like this, it's kind of rotated like this a little bit. Feels kind of okay. I'm gonna ignore it for now. I don't know what I'm doing. Alright, let's leave it at that. Let's go back to thinking colors. Draw some random spots. Keep the line. Oops. Mm, I don't know how far his hair goes. Kind of forgot how it looks like for some reason. Mm, I might want to move a little bit toward the yellower. Mm. These eyes might also be a little bit too much work, because His hair covers a lot of his face. It's almost impossible to find a way to do. I mean, this works. This, not so much. Kind of like this. Maybe go a little bit higher, like this. This gives him the kind of a little bit of an indifferent. Gonna make his face slightly more visible. I think I should work on another layer just to make sure I don't mess up some colors from other sprites. Let's just do that. This is like the test color. I did want to do it because if I replace the color here, it's gonna replace the color too. Ooh, what if I use hybrid colors for the weapon? To express the fact that this is the brighter side of the weapon. You know, how to like give it some edge or something. And even try to give it some shine. Damn, that looks good. Oh my god. Maybe the shading is the secret to show that it's tilted to this side. Right? Because it's kind of rotated a little bit. Only the light that hits this edge of the blade is reflected back to us. Feels kinda right for some reason. I think the way the light hits the surface here. Metallic object in 8-bit style. I think that flipped the shading though. I'm gonna have to redo it manually. Looks like it. It's okay. The direction of these highlights though should not change. Right? Why did it have to be this pixel here? Come on, man. Seriously, dude? I'm gonna make it black like this. It's these ones that should be move forward. I can't handle this one. Not gonna lie, I kinda hate it when sometimes I feel like I know what's the right thing to do, but I don't know why it works. It feels good though. But it kinda also feels bad. I mean, what feels bad is that you cannot put words on it, like find out why it works and how to replicate it, for example, when you need to, in case you need to. You know what would be funny? If I reach a point where I have to change the colors, and then once I change the colors, it affects the way the blade looks, and I will have to start working on a blade again. That would be a disaster. Yes, I think this part of the blade would be farther from the way we're trying to convey that how Zidane is holding the blade. Wait, what? What happened? I like the way Zidane is holding the blade should make the blade look farther from the side and therefore should make it look shorter. Oh, it's that. Yeah, I forgot I'm working on a different layer. Now we can merge it down. We can even work on this thing. Is this alright? made the blade look a little bit too thin though. Ooh, that's a nice black pixel. Again, I don't know why, apparently it works. It's actually tilted. What did I just do? I actually moved 1 pixel up. So this should be right angle. We can go like this, probably. Gotta select these and do this. And then maybe like do this or something. Maybe hide more of it behind his head. I think this is gonna work. I also forgot that he doesn't have... He only has these weird sleeves. He doesn't have long... like he's not even like his shirt like stops around his shoulders. So I'm gonna have to make sure that's obvious. Around here. Oh my god, it's gonna... We have also to make sure it doesn't look like his head. Like this. Although his shoulders are quite highlighted. They're quite prominent, right? He also has this thing he wears around his neck. What did I do? And maybe this kind of shape thing. Should we show how it's oh, that's kind of nice. Need to underdo this a little bit. He also has this belt he has. Or is it a double belt? But more here. I need to find a good expression. Maybe I should clean up more to be able to see clearly. What if I do this and make his face more apparent? So he's looking toward us. Also, he has like his eyebrows are pretty expressive. It's just that we don't have that much detail to be able to it's not exactly bad. And it does the job, but I sacrifice that how his hair falls in his face in a way that doesn't leave a lot of horizontal area to work with. That's one way to recognize Zidane, to be able to show more facial expressions. But that's not exactly working, in my opinion. What I should do think it's going with something like this and trying to express to show how he usually has this, I don't know, see like how his nose is and his chin, etc. Like it's almost making this arrow or triangle. I thought there's a difference between this artwork and this one. This is more focused on his cheerful personality, while this one is more focused on his resourceful personality. Also has this thing where he puts his daggers, supposedly. Oh, and I also forgot the most important trait, feature of Zidane. There's no way Zidane is Zidane without his tail, right? Maybe I should move this sword kind of forward here, so I can move his lower body to the left a little bit. And first of all, I have to move everything slightly to the right, because otherwise I can work. Fix that one later. I have to focus on this for now. I had to do this because the character feels almost out of balance. That's for the grip of the weapon. Let's make a new layer. Okay, it's gonna be one of these. My God. Might want to use more black just to add some more contrast to certain places because the colors aren't allowing us to express everything we want to do. At least not allowing me to express everything I want to express. I mean, it's not like I'm drawing something original, but I want to highlight everything I felt from the character. Mm. Oh wow, internet is messing some stuff up. Mm. Should I aim for a different color, brownish color or something? Yes, this works. The reason it works it is because you're in an 8-bit game. It kind of lowers your expectations when it comes to visual information. So I think this does work, but Cool. Okay, so now this leg looks like it's being bent inwards. Which I don't exactly like. Now what would be the best part now? I managed to add, somehow squeeze in the whatever he uses to keep the daggers or whatever. All right. I think this turned out pretty good. You're just like, no, I don't like you. This looks a lot like Zidane, but in his combat ready form, right? This also can look a lot like Zidane. I don't know. Maybe keep this and have like different eyebrows and such, as depending on the situation. So basically here it's safe to assume he's in a combat ready situation because like he's standing like this holding his weapon and all. So it's like it's his idle animation when he is in combat. So I think I'm gonna go with this. This is even more combat ready. Alright, what about the colors? Can I adjust them anymore? What about this? I feel like it looks good, but maybe because I got used to the desaturated blue. This is giving him a relatively contrasting properties. I don't know if that's the word for like. The idea is to go with a color that reminds of his clothes, but then aim for a relationship of colors that conveys his general feel. Right? It's like take into consideration how all these colors work together, not just as green or blue or yellow or like brown or gray or whatever. Like there's this general feel. Are the colors all, for example, cold or warm hues? Are they generally bright? Are they contrasting? All this stuff gives a general feel. Like you feel, for example, warm when you look at this artwork, or you feel this way or that way. And that make us remember the character in a specific way. Not just because, for example, I remember that he wears this and he wears that. For example, if you noticed, when I was drawing his clothes, although I'm very familiar with Final Fantasy IX, when I was drawing his clothes, I had to come back to the reference and look again to remember what he is usually wearing, because I don't exactly focus on every single thing that he's wearing, but more like the general impression, right? And that's something important to remember. Like when you try to draw something, it's important to remember how to focus on reproducing the general impression, more than just the like logical, intellectual, like things that make up the character. Because I think the process when we look at an artwork, the very few early moments we like recognize the artwork with a general impression. And then what happens is we start focusing on the character or the artwork, the subject of the we are focusing on, and then we start looking for the details, and then these details that we notice either enhance our recognition of that character or subject or whatever, or contradict that character, right? Like we start with the general impression. That's the most important thing when it comes to recognizing a character or whatever. And then when it comes to the details, like from my perspective as an artist or whatever, it's simply make sure there aren't any details that contradict the recognition of that character, right? So, like for example, I focus on the general feel of the character, the general shapes, etc. But then, as long as I don't include any variables that oppose our recognition of that character, it should go right. Like we don't have to put every single thing we can into making that character recognizable. Just as long as the general feel, this the very first emotion that that character gives us, as long as we manage to capture that, investing on adding detail is simply a matter of making sure he is not confused with other characters, right? Like, let's suppose, for example, there are other characters who like use a similar weapon. All I need to do is simply make sure the details that differentiate them from Zidane are in this artwork. That's all I need to do, right? But obviously that might become more and more difficult, more like the more characters, for example, the more fictional characters we come up with or whatever. Like, but that's another topic. I just wanted to like emphasize this specific thing when making art, like to help anyone understand what to aim for and what is important and what might even be considered, for example, an error or whatever. I do think that the contrast is a little bit too high right now. I'm just trying to reduce it just a little bit. It actually is simply use the contrast and brightness of the but, Actually, I think this is pretty alright. Right? Slightly more yellow. Because he has that kind of a golden shine because of his hair that is very prominent. That's all we need to do. Okay. You might want to help the brightness a little bit using making the blue. Alright, I think this might do it. Ooh, this is so nice. It softened the contrast between the yellow and the black, which gave his general feel a softer one. Right? than what I just did. This just made them look so weirdly fat. Yeah, he looks so fat, it's weird. Crazy. The amount, the amount of details I managed to squeeze into this thing is just wow. It just made them look like some undead creature. This is nice though. want to stop myself. This is crazy. I can't believe I managed to squeeze so much detail with only these three colors. This was just such a productive drawing session. I love the way it turned out. I think the only thing that might need some adjustments right now is his head, because I think it's tilted a little bit toward to the left. When it comes to weight distribution, it shouldn't be this easy for him to stand tall. Like, not only his weapon, but his whole body is leaning on this leg, but his head is also like kind of tilted to this area. This should have been like, if I was trying to draw that exact pose, what we would be like leaning on is his knee, right? His knee would be bent a little bit like this to compensate, which is a little bit difficult to do here, because you know the shape of his pants and his boots and etc. Let's try to do that. Like, you see what I mean? Like, his thighs. He wears these inflated pants or whatever. Like, it's like he doesn't allow the knee to actually be drawn forward pretty easily. Also didn't manage to express the shape of his arms. Correctly. Pretty difficult to convey that this is his hand. Okay, now it's obvious, but doesn't look good. Because of how much space he's taking, it feels like his arm is ginormous, man. I feel like I suddenly have the right to be happy. This looks amazing. At least from my own perspective, from what I expect from myself. I feel like I kind of outdone myself. Like I had some expectations for myself regarding this Sprite, but this is better than what I was expecting. That said, I think it's quite different from VV. It's slightly shorter than VV, and VV is supposed to be like a very short character. So I might have to work on this, maybe by increasing the size of the boots, giving some more height. You know, because the boots are very prominent in his design, like they're. I don't know how I'm gonna manage to do this. Just adding some black to think quickly. Oh damn, dithering adds so much more to the character. Okay, this ended up being slightly different than what I was expecting. But it's not that I hate it. It's pretty good. So I'm gonna keep it. And then I'll think about what I want to do with this. Although part of me wants to compare it with Gogo. Level of detail is much more pronounced. That's what I feel is the main difference. But then again, it's because the game comes from a much more a game that came much later, so it's like kind of understandable. This also gave me the idea. What if I try to add even more detail to Goku while keeping these two colors restrictions? All right, I think this is gonna be it for now. I really like the end result. Like even I might even be able to add more size to the weapon now. But I think I'm gonna stop for now. Like I feel a little bit tired. I need a little break. So yeah. All right. Thanks to anyone who watched this. I hope you had fun, and I'll see you next time.